into the new world because I believe over the last 4 years, we have been in the midst of, and we're still continuing forward with a true paradigm shift. When we look at the impact of COVID, we look at the impact of geopolitics, we look at the impact of Gen Z coming into the workplace, demanding new ways of leadership. All of these things, along with climate change and growth of technology, are bringing us into a whole new world that will not look anything like what 2019 did ever again, which is why I'm sometimes surprised when I talk with clients and their boards and their CXOs believe that they can just keep doing things the same way and suddenly something will change that makes their profits and sales go up. That is no longer feasible. The ones that are recognizing that, and I see it more and more every day that people are beginning to get on board. 95% of global CEOs at the beginning of 2024 said yes to AI. We need to figure this out. We can't hide under a rock and say it's a big bad thing. We need to learn how we can most effectively invest in, leverage, train people, and augment our team through AI. The ones that have done so are already seeing a significant improvement. In the beginning, it was all about productivity. People can do more faster by having the tool do the research, having it draft something, having it review something, having it do the basic task of reversing data in a table. That makes people more productive. But today, we're also seeing quality improvements as a result of AI. And that's because there are certain things that AI can simply do better than people. Things that require detailed, routine, step by step, methodical tracking, sorting, counting, monitoring. AI can do that all day. We as people, we get distracted, we lose track. So by using AI for things that require deep analysis, repetitive, consistent, methodical tasks, organizations are gaining quality and productivity. And ultimately, that's following through to the top and the bottom line. So the time to act is now. Don't wait. If you're not already leaning in, as we say in Silicon Valley, trying AI tools, encouraging people to experiment in small steps, now is the time to do it. But as I hear more and more from people that have been holding back today, it's how. And trust me, I see a lot of organizations go way too far down the path of we need a chief AI officer and we're going to give him millions of euros to go out and build a team and figure this out. Or we're going to hire a data scientist to figure this out. That's really not the answer. And I say that because at the end of last year, early this year, I and my company, Next Step, as well as some of the Future Work Forum partners, did a study where we went out and we talked to 25 different companies from around the globe about how they are leveraging AI and what's working. Different industries, different mindsets. And we were pleasantly surprised that there were some very consistent takeaways from all of these companies. Firstly, the projects that were the most successful started with a business problem. It did not start with brainstorming, how might we use AI? Is Copilot better than Anthropic? Nay, it started with, let's identify a business problem, something we've been struggling with that we may be able to use AI for. Something that requires analysis, something that requires research, something that requires hands and feet that we don't have, something that requires thinking bigger, deeper on topics. And once they identified that big problem, they then begin to break that problem down. Because a good innovation process, you have a big problem, but you break it down into small, manageable chunks. And so they broke those problems down to say, piece by piece, if this is a part of the problem, how might AI help it? Over here on this research, which tool do we think might be better? And as they begin to get those ideas flowing, they took action. They didn't wait for 6 months to find somebody that knows something about it. They simply started small piece of the problem, small use of the tool. And once they got some progress and some experience, they begin to set the success criteria. How do we judge whether the tool is working or not? What do we actually expect from it? So they started with the action, then they began to monitor. And once they found that a particular tool was helping solve this section of the problem, they could then scale it further. If that tool didn't, they went back to another one. Now, the most important part of this process, especially to you as HR people, was the real key to success was the people. The people involved in the projects. I'm not talking about data scientists or CAIOs or cybersecurity people. I'm talking about business people, the people in the organization facing the problem that were responsible for leveraging the tools to solve it. Because it was the people that were able to give it context. Just like when you're using a generative AI tool, if you go in and say, tell me what I should do for a birthday party, it has no context. It could tell you anything. If you went in and said very clearly, in the winter time in Turkey, a birthday party for a 15-year-old that likes these 5 things, what would be the criteria for that? That gives it context. The same in a business setting. Explain the problem, be clear on what you're asking for. And whatever comes from the tool, look at it critically. It's simply a beginning. It's simply a data point. Take what the tool comes up with and apply it. Apply it to reality and context. And then use the human empathy to think about, for our real people in the real world, how might this solution fit and what might their reactions be? So I would recommend, for a successful utilization of AI, you start with the problem. What are our unsolved challenges that we might be able to explore using AI for. And then do that exploration, try things. The AI is not something that you can sit and read a book and say, okay, I understand it. Try it. Challenge others to try it. As you take action, begin to collaborate. A number of the companies in this study had learning labs where they would bring people together every Friday or twice a month to share the kinds of tools they were using and what they were learning as a part of that process. And ultimately, empower others to leverage the tool to make us as people better humans and able to deliver even greater results, augmented and empowered by AI. I've covered the very high level. Feel free to add questions in the chat, stay for the panel, or feel free to reach out as need be.